If you've ever seen the insane amount of beauty subscription box services I am currently enrolled in, you'll know that it takes a lot of effort and expense to look this pretty. Lucky for all of us, on a guitar, we can actually do something really easy that sounds pretty that you can learn in just a few minutes, all right? And it is all thanks to the people's key, the key of G, all right? Rocking this Taylor 614 out today. So what we're gonna do is gonna sound kind of like this. Okay, so, you know, it might not sound like the craziest stuff because it's really easy. Like anybody at any difficulty level, beginner, intermediate, advanced, can play this and have it sound kind of pretty. And the reason it is because we're really focusing on the G and B strings to help us achieve kind of like a glue that really takes these really simple shapes and puts them all together, all right? So, a G major chord, you probably already know, looks like this, right? The people's key. Middle finger is on the 3rd fret of the low E string, pointer finger is on the 2nd fret of the A string. You can have your ring or pinky here. Any way you play a G major, it's going to be the notes G, B, and D, all right? So the real interesting thing about that is we have open strings that are just G and B, and we can actually incorporate the D string in there too, but we really want to utilize these two open strings right here, okay? So first things we're just gonna do is just one simple shape. It's gonna be like a C major 7 shape, okay? So when I say a shape, I've got my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A string, my middle finger is 2nd fret of the D string, right? Now, I can move this to the 3rd fret, the 5th fret, or the 10th fret, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this open G and B string kind of ringing out over whichever of these positions that I use with this one shape, okay? Now, you probably have used this before in like a C major chord, something like that, because this is really a major shape. It's a root note, and it's major 3rd. So those are 2/3 of the way to becoming like a major chord. But again, these are gonna be chords in the key of G, and then we're just gonna take some of the G-ness of these open strings, G and B, and add them to the root note, and then its major or minor 3rd, which we're gonna get to right here. Okay, so the way that I'm playing this is I'm going like this. Okay, so all I've got is my thumb is hitting the A string, my pointer finger is always gonna hit the G string, then my thumb is gonna switch to the D string, middle finger, B string. Okay, so A, G, D, B, A, G, D, B. If you can really play this in any pattern that you want, you can just go straight down like that, you know, or with a pick, or however you want to do it. Again, doesn't matter wherever your picking prowess lends itself to. This is always gonna sound good, all right? So far I've just got that one chord. I can switch this to a D major-ish chord, right? That same shape, just rooted on the 5th fret, the D, right? 5th fret on the A string is D, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. All right, so I have D. If we want to go through the notes, we can. We have a D, its major 3rd, which is an F sharp, and then also a G and a B again. Okay, so again, the whole point here is to take part of a major or minor chord and then add these two notes on top of it to make a fluid sound. Okay, we can just always go back between C and D like this. And then we can add the parent chord, a G, which is the 10th fret. Okay? So these are the 3 major chords, essentially, in the key of G, otherwise known as the 1 chord. Again, 10th fret is a G, so in the key of G, G is 1. The 4 chord, G, A, B, C, is going to be the C chord, and then the 5 chord is D. So we've got the 4 chord, to the 5 chord, to the 1 chord. Okay, that's just with one shape. Now we can just alter the shape in one simple way, and then grab the rest of the chords in this key, all right? So let's actually go down to the 7th fret, which is an E, all right? So if we take that same shape and then flatten where your middle finger was, now we have 7A and 5D, this is going to be representative of a minor chord, okay? Any key has 3 major chords and 3 minor chords. They go with it. 1, 4, and 5 are major, 2, 3, and 6 are minor. If you don't know that, definitely check out my Patreon where I have all of this stuff spelled out in the beginning so you don't have to maybe jump into one certain spot. You go through over everything, absolutely everything, in depth through like dozens and dozens of lessons, so check that out, link in the description. But yeah, we got this E minor chord, all right? Or what I'm thinking of as an E minor chord. This one actually specifically is an E, a G, and a B, right? And then we can kind of take this same shape and use it in different places. The next place we can use it is actually a step higher on the 9th fret. Okay, this is F sharp's spot in the key, which technically would be a diminished or a minor 7 flat 5 chord if we went through all the chords. But again, this is just going to be a simplified version that always works and makes stuff sound really pretty and really beautiful, right? So we can root this chord on the 7th fret, the 9th fret, the 12th fret for A, or even the 2nd fret. The nice thing about the 2nd fret, which is a B, A sharp, B, we don't actually have to, we have the open string hitting the minor 3rd for us. So we don't have to keep that whole shape intact. We can just use one finger, right? So we're gonna run through all of them just to kind of get the locations down pat. Starting with the B minor, right? So it's just the 2nd fret on the A string. We're gonna call this the minor shape, or we can think of this as the 2nd shape that we learned, so shape 2, if you wanna look at it that way. Here's the B minor. I'm gonna do 2 bars or 2 patterns of each one. 1, 2, to C major, to D's major shape, E minor, F sharp and its minor 3rd shape, to G major, to A minor. We can continue on to the next B past the octave, to C and then D, so on and so forth, right? So really, it's just kind of like coming down to memorizing just different spots where you can root one of just 2 shapes, major or minor, and then playing it however you want. And then eventually you kind of get used to these intervals and like the spaces between them because we're just tracking it left and right on one string, right? I think it's really helpful to think of the numbers in the scale where you are instead of like the fret markers. So again, everybody kind of, or most people start out thinking of fret markers, be like, all right, when I say 3, I'm thinking 3rd fret, right? But this is actually the 4th chord in that key. Thinking of notes being key specific instead of like where you find them on the fretboard is kind of a big part of really understanding the instrument to its full capacity. So when I think of a C major, and I know I'm doing this exercise because we're using all the notes and chords and stuff in the key of G, I'm thinking of this as the 4 chord, G, A, B, C, right? There's only 7 notes. I don't know why I put up all my fingers as if they're 10. There's only 7 notes in the key of G. G, A, B, C, D, E has 1 sharp, F sharp, and then G again. Any one of those single notes can become its own chord or however we want to root this stuff. So this is the 4 chord. Now I can just go, knowing that's the 4 chord, I can go down the line and then think of them as numbers. 4 chord, to the 5 chord, to the 6 chord, to the 7 chord, to the 1 chord, to the 2 chord, to the 3 chord, and back to the 4 chord. So you can kind of see this as a way to number progressions, right? The most common chord progression you'll ever run across is like a 1-4-5, right? Maybe even like you can think of like a 12-bar blues thing, even though it won't sound bluesy, but the structure of something like that, like maybe have 4 bars of 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 bars of 4, then back to 2 bars of 1, a bar of 5, a bar of 4, and back to 1. Right? So you can kind of really just like replace lyrics there. And again, I kind of messed the bar count up there, but you get the idea, right? A 1, 4, 5. But I think really thinking of, or just kind of hunting and pecking around for the changes that appeal to you is a great way to kind of maybe flesh out your musical taste and to start working on intervals that you kind of might really like. Like me personally, I like playing stuff that just avoids the 1 chord. Like I usually almost think of the 1 chord as an afterthought, and most stuff that I play is actually 4 chord heavy, right? So what that means is like maybe I'll play all of these different chords in the key of G, but I'm gonna skip the G totally. So like a progression that would appeal to me would be maybe sticking on that 4 chord, Maybe go 6, 5. I like that descending kind of feel to the 4, right? To the 6, 7, 5, 4, right? And then just kind of moving around, and then just experimenting. Skip the 1 chord to go down to 7, 6, 5, 4. And the nice thing about that, and why that appeals to me, is because, you know, there really never is that resolution, that basic resolution that gives you away as being a cookie cutter artist, as us contrarians like to say. Skip that all together, right? So again, I think it's pretty easy just to think of like, all right, well, here are my root notes. I've got the 2nd fret, which is minor. The 3rd fret is 4-chord major. Step from there is 5th fret, D major. Minor, rooted on the 7th fret as the E. Another minor-ish shape as the 7 chord on the 9th fret. There's my home bass, 10th fret, G. The 2 chord minor on the A, 12th fret. And then this is just the octave of this. And again, having that G and B always kind of establishes, like I said, the G-ness of it without necessarily making it resolve. So that's why I think it's just kind of like a pretty thing that you can always do, all right? So what if you want to play something in the key of A? It's like, oh, you're out of luck because, well, you know, a lot of what we're doing here is open G and open B, so that's the key of G's root, and it's major 3rd. What if I want to play, like I said, what if you sing well or you write well in the key of A? Which honestly, A, I think is really like the prettiest of all the keys. I think Joe Pass actually said that, or at least I've said that in my memory, and I try to impress people by just mentioning Joe Pass's name in any of these videos. But yeah, so like A, major, A and C sharp are going to be the notes that you might want to do this for. And it's like, oh, well, I don't want to retune my guitar. Just put a capo on the 2nd fret. Now essentially, G and B become A and C sharp. So you can do the exact same thing. Here's the 4 chord, the 5 chord, 6, 7, home. 2, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And then, you know, you can kind of just move stuff around there. Or if you want to tune down a step, a lot of different ways that you can kind of still incorporate the open strings to help you out. Again, that's why I think it's really important to know what notes go into what keys and what notes are in what chords, and kind of be able to use the tuning and the structure of a guitar and how it really lends itself to learning different shapes to kind of just help you in just making cool sounding stuff. So again, that's all I got for you today. But yeah, if you like this kind of teaching, definitely check out the Patreon because I go through a lot of this stuff in much more detail. And like I said, I break it down from absolute beginner to you know, wherever we are, as far as like me currently uploading every week. And I teach a bunch of songs over there too. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks a lot.